Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Seabear. In today's video, we're going to talk about something that affects millions of people every day, poverty. And more specifically, how it's becoming the norm for many Americans. I'm sure this hits home with a lot of you, and it's a topic that we really need to discuss. So let's get right into it. So when we think about poverty in America, we often picture homelessness, people struggling on the streets. But the truth is, poverty is much more insidious than that. It's hiding in plain sight, creeping into the lives of people you might know. For too many Americans, the dream of financial stability or having a comfortable life feels just out of reach. And yet, it's becoming more and more common. I certainly feel the pressures, and I'm sure all of you can too. The reality is that poverty isn't just a few people, it's millions. Almost 40% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. That means almost half the country doesn't have enough savings to survive a month without a steady income. And it's not just the homeless who are struggling, it's just regular folks working too. But it's crazy to think about. 40% cannot survive like an emergency expense because they are living paycheck to paycheck. Literally almost half the country. That is insane. Now let's talk about one of the main reasons why this is happening. It's the rising cost of living. If you've gone grocery shopping lately, you've probably noticed the prices are insane. Everything from gas to food, your rent is more expensive than it was a few years ago. In fact, the average rent in America has more than doubled in the last decade. And wages, they're not keeping up either. In 2023, the average American worker's wage is about $52,000 a year. I mean, that may sound, all right, it may sound not bad, but when you adjust it for inflation, it's not much more than what it was 20 years ago. And when you factor in the skyrocketing cost of living, it feels like people are just treading water to just try to stay alive. They're barely hanging in there on the wages that we are making today. Here's the thing. We've all been told that if you just work hard enough, you'll make it. But that's just not true. And half the time, by these old boomers who who bought a house, for a nickel and a pack of gum. They tell us that, Gen Z, we're just lazy. Millennials, we're just lazy. But I just think times were easier back then. More and more people are working two or even three jobs, and yet they're still struggling to make ends meet. Like back in the day, you could have a simple job, just a normal job, and you could survive. You could own a house, a car, raise a family. Nowadays, it just won't work. You have to have a high skill job to make ends meet. And we're just seeing something strange happen in America. Work just isn't enough to survive anymore. And that's where the idea of poverty being the norm starts to kick in. It's not just about the poor or the unlucky anymore. It's about the system that's broken. It's about the fact that people who work hard do everything right and still are not able to get ahead, no matter what they do. It's not just about working hard enough. We also need to talk about the mental toll of living in poverty. When you're constantly worried about paying bills, keeping food on the table, or just getting by, it starts to affect your mental health. Anxiety, depression, and stress become a constant part of your life and just make it impossible to get through the days. It's not just affecting adults. Children who grow up in poverty are more likely to struggle with their own mental health as well. They may not understand exactly why things are hard, but they certainly feel it. They see the stress of their parents and they sense the uncertainty in their parents' lives and then ultimately theirs. So, why is poverty becoming so widespread? Part of it has to do with the widening wealth gap. In America, the richest 1% now controls more wealth than the bottom 90%. And yeah, that's right. The top 1% have more money than the 90% of the population combined. There are also structural issues in the economy, in healthcare, in education. All of these factors play into the reality that poverty is becoming more normal. It's hard to get out of this system, especially when it's stacked against you. You don't just need a job, you need opportunities. You need healthcare, affordable education, and just some support to get you out. How did poverty go from being a problem to something that's almost accepted as part of our lives? And I think part of it has to be like just normalization. We've grown up used to seeing poverty around us, and we just don't even question it anymore. We see it in our streets, in our communities, and maybe just right in our households, and we just accept it. And with social media, it's just easier than ever to see a highlight reel of, these self-made millionaires. These people who seem to have it all together. People who are just living better than we are, but it's all illusion. Behind their perfect phony Instagram photos and TikTok clips, there are so many people struggling too. The pressure to keep up with this like influencer lifestyle and just to maintain an appearance just adds to the stress of just the daily struggle every day. And so what does the future look like? Are we going to keep seeing more people just stuck in poverty? Are we heading towards a future where a large percentage of the population just lives paycheck to paycheck and they're just never able to get anywhere? They're never able to get ahead. And the truth is, if things don't change, we could be seeing a future where all of us are just stuck in poverty. And it's just reality. There's only very few who are not in this position. But I don't want to end this video on just like a hopeless note. There's things that we can do, and it certainly starts with awareness. It starts with just fighting for better wages, better opportunities, better healthcare, better education. But it's going to take everyone. Like, again, you need to learn just better skills, just be able to take up better opportunities to better your situation. And just get a slice of your pie too. So, yeah, I mean, poverty may be the new norm for a lot of Americans, but I don't think it has to be. I think we can push for change and we can try to better our situation and system that we're in. And I think it's important that everyone does have a chance to succeed. If you could relate to just being just broke, just down bad, let's talk about it in the comments. Let's talk about your situation and let me know if you are struggling too, because you're definitely not alone. A lot of people are in the same boat as you. And together, I think we can help our way out of this. We can help each other out of the situation that we're in. So again, guys, I want to thank you for watching. And if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.